Okay, so as you see here, we have two types of bowls. We have a big bowl for all your big, if you really want to get into some cereal. But then also we have a small bowl for maybe a little child, if he doesn't want to eat as much cereal. And then we've got your standard, typical blue bowls that are good for just about anything.
Can I see that? Yeah. Roll bowl preview.
Fine! God!
Well, while William goes and collects himself, I'm Richie Martin, and we're continuing our bowl preview show with our post-Christmas bowls. Now, these will not include the New Year's 6 Art of College Football. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
This place is a circus!
This is a circus. We'll talk some football, right? 726. You know what? I love Zaxby's. You love Zaxby's?
I love Zaxby's. Best boneless wings and things. It's best $10 you're ever going to spend.
Exactly. Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl. It's played in the Cotton Bowl, and you know, they don't fill it up. This game has gotten bigger and bigger. This year, pretty good game. Utah and West Virginia. West Virginia, of course, has David Sills the fifth. And then you have Will Greer, who's probably not going to be playing this game. He'll be coming back next year, so that offense is explosive. Then Utah, Kyle Whittingham is 10-1 in bowl games since 2004, taking over the reins over Urban Meyer. That includes a win over Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. This is a dangerous team, but I think West Virginia, they have such a great defensive line. And plus, David Sills the fifth in his last game, he's going to go off, I think. So I'll give it to the Mountaineers just barely in a great game.
I would also have to agree with you. I think that even though Will Greer will not be playing for the Mountaineers, I think that they will come through and they will still win this game behind David Sills. He's been fantastic. I mean, he had, at one point in the season, he had 15 receiving touchdowns, and then the next person closest to him had 9.
Yeah,
he's freaking dangerous.
I think now he has 18, and the next person's like 14, something like that. It's insane. But that day, the Quick Lane Bowl between Duke and Northern Illinois. We didn't think Duke was going to get here at one point. First, we thought, man, Duke could go to the ACC title. They're 4-0. They rolled off wins over Northwestern, Baylor, Central. They destroyed and then knocked off rival North Carolina. You're thinking the sky's the limit. They didn't lose 6 straight. A lot of close losses in that game. A lot of bad ones, too, like Miami, Virginia Tech. Then knock off Georgia Tech. Then, in a crazy game against Wake Forest, come from behind down 17 to win this game against Wake Forest on the road.
In a rivalry game, no less.
Yeah, that's insane. So Duke has got all the momentum, and mostly because of Daniel Jones. That quarterback. At one point, he was the second highest rated quarterback in the ACC, behind Kelly Bryant, above Lamar Jackson, who was up for the Heisman again. So this is insane. But of course, the running backs are the key: Britton Brown, Sean Wilson. And you got Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois, a lot of people have remembered them from when Jordan Lynch went to the Orange Bowl. And they've been kind of disappointing since then. But they won 8 games this year. They'll be a good team. This should be a pretty close game for a while. But I think Duke, with their running backs and with their strong defense, they haven't allowed more than 30 points a game, just once this season. So I think Duke's going to win this game.
I would have to agree with you. I think, like you said, Northern Illinois has kind of gone downhill ever since Jordan Lynch left. They've kind of been just kind of middle of the pack. I think Duke will come out behind Daniel Jones' arm and the running of Sean Wilson and the leadership of David Cutcliffe, one of the most underrated coaches in the NCAA by my standards. I think Duke will come out and win this game.
That's right. Cutcliffe turned down the Tennessee job to stay at Duke. How many times do you think that one happened?
I turned down the Tennessee job too. So
that's true. Everybody turned down the Tennessee job. And then you have the Cactus Bowl. It's not the Motel 6 Cactus Bowl, which is kind of disappointing.
Very disappointing. I gotta love Motel 6.
But yeah, did they make the teams stay in the Motel 6? Did they make Motel 6s big enough for football teams to stay in?
I hope not.
Anyway, this was also played on a baseball field, so that's another reason to watch. And it's Kansas State and UCLA. Kansas State quietly became one of those really good teams this year. They're consistent. They knocked off Oklahoma State, almost beat Oklahoma. And so they have since Skylar Thompson was a quarterback, he took over. He has completed 74% of his passes, including and had wins over Oklahoma State and Iowa State. UCLA, man, Josh Rosen. Remember when Josh Rosen was up for the Heisman? Mm-hmm. Like everybody thought he's going to win the Heisman, and they just had a really disappointing season. Jim Moore is out. Here comes Chip Kelly back, so that'll be interesting to see next year. Mm-hmm. I think Josh Rosen's going to be motivated to play well in this game, but I just think Kansas State is just on too much of a roll. And UCLA is just trying, all right, we're done with this season. Let's move on to Chip Kelly. I'm going to give it to Kansas State slightly. And if Bill Snyder retires, which all the rumors are, I think he goes out a winner.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I think UCLA is going to come out and win this game behind the arm of Josh Rosen. I think Josh Rosen, everybody's talked about going into the NFL draft. Now, he still couldn't come back. But everybody's talking about Sam Darnold and all these other quarterbacks, but Josh Rosen, I think, is the most NFL-ready quarterback out there. And he's going to show out, and he's going to make that statement known. And he will be taken number 1 overall by the Browns. Sorry, won't hear from him again. But we'll hear from him here because he's going to win the bowl game.
All right, interesting. All right, December 27th, the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl. Apparently, Walk-Ons is some kind of bar based in Louisiana. I have no idea. They still have bistro with that, like, Go Tigers and all that stuff in LSU. Feel like X and stuff, so I've never heard of this company, but it must be rich enough to have a bowl game in Shreveport, Louisiana. It's Southern Miss versus Florida State. Florida State's had the worst season I've ever seen in life. First, the quarterback gets hurt against Alabama. You got throw in a guy. Blackman's the smallest quarterback I've ever seen in my entire life. They throw him out there, and he just gets murdered by his ACC defenses each and every week. And they have to schedule Louisiana Monroe the same weekend your rival Miami's playing for the ACC title. You have to schedule Louisiana Monroe just to get into a bowl game. That's pretty sad. And on top of it, Jimbo Fisher leaves.
Yeah, up and leave, not fired. Go on, you just see it.
Yeah, but you got Willie Taggart coming in for next year, and that was a sticky situation.
Yeah, sorry, Oregon.
Yeah, I think Florida State's gonna just barely win this game. This is gonna be a weird game because Southern Miss, we don't know a lot. It says here, Ito Smith, he has 13 rushing touchdowns on the season and ran for 453 yards in the final 3 games of the season, so he's been on a roll. And they're going to be motivated because, it's non-Power 5 versus Power 5. There's always motivation there. If Florida State can get the motivation, I think they can because I think they just got the size that's going to be able to power them no matter what happens. But Southern Miss will keep it interesting, I think. I think Florida State just barely squeaks by and gets this win.
Well, I'll disagree with you again. I think that this is going to be the icing on the disaster cake for Florida State. Just the perfect way to top off a crap season. I think Southern Miss is going to pull this one out.
All right, the New Era Pinstripe Bowl up at Yankee Stadium, Iowa and Boston College. This is your old school slobber knocker. We're going to run the ball down your throat and hit you in the mouth. It's going to be fantastic. You have A.J. Dillon for Boston College, one of the greatest freshman running backs of this year, had 1,099 yards over his final 6 games. And so it's going to be insane to see that. And you have linebacker Josie Jewell for Iowa. And Iowa started off looking really strong. Everybody probably going to win a Big Ten. They lose a heartbreaker to Penn State, lose a heartbreaker to Northwestern. Then they knock off Ohio State, which really knocked Ohio State out of the playoff. Mm-hmm. And I believe Iowa lost to somebody they shouldn't have, probably like Purdue or somebody. And so it's just been an up and down season for Iowa. I think they're going to be motivated for this game, and I think they have such a good rapport with Nate Stanley and Noah Fant. I think they're going to be able to get by here because Boston College defense has not looked good at all because, they're tied at 7 with Clemson and then gave up, 27 points in the fourth quarter to lose that game. And I know it was early in the season, but Boston College cannot hold on to a quarterback. So I think Boston College next year could be one of the most dangerous teams in the ACC, like the NC State of this year, because Steve Adazio's finally got some pieces working for him. But I think Iowa just barely squeaks by and just gets this season over with.
I think Iowa's going to win this game too, based on simply the fact that they've shown how good they can be against an Ohio State team by putting up 50-some-odd points against them. And I think they'll tear up this Boston College defense, who always has a good linebacker, we know.
Oh, of course.
But one linebacker is not your defense.
The Foster Farms Bowl. I think Foster Farms makes chicken nuggets. I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe.
This is like the Emerald Bowl. Does anybody remember that Emerald Bowl? It was supposed to be like some almond company, and it was played at a baseball field too. This one's played at Levi Stadium, so maybe they'll actually fill it up this week. Maybe they won't. It's Arizona versus Purdue. Khalil Tate, if you could give somebody a Heisman for October, he won the October Heisman.
Yeah, no doubt. Coming
off the bench, rushing for 1,000 yards, and his passing's all right, but he didn't need to pass half the time. He just had to run.
They averaged running in probably in October about 350 yards. So.
Yeah, totally. And then you have Purdue. Great story. Of course, they get a new coach, and they turns that team around. They've been at the bottom of the Big Ten this year. Go 6-6. I think, though, however, they've had some injuries. I think Arizona and Khalil Tate is just too fast. I think Arizona's going to win this one over Purdue. But look out for Purdue in the future.
Yeah, I think Purdue's got it going in the right direction. Jeff Brom has done a fantastic job coming from Western Kentucky and helping turn around this Purdue team. But I'm giving the edge to Arizona. Khalil Tate was a monster. Like we said in October, the first couple games, he wasn't really that good. But when he got in there and he started going, he's fantastic. I think their offense is too potent for Purdue to stop.
And next you have the Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl. Texas and Missouri at NRG Stadium in Houston. This game was almost Texas versus Texas A&M, and Texas said no to that. So, one, I'm mad at Texas for them turning out a great matchup. And I'm also mad at Missouri for not being Texas A&M. So, I'm going to be watching this one kind of disappointed in both teams, but it should be a good game. Drew Lock's been on a roll recently. Tigers have scored at least 45 points in every single game of their 6-game winning streak. At the beginning of the year, we thought Missouri's done. They're going to be awful once again this year, and all of a sudden, they just got the offense rolling. Texas, meanwhile, they've been up and down. Quarterback Sam Ehlinger, he's just a freshman, but he's had his high moments where he's looked fantastic, and he's had his low moments like look at the game against Maryland and look at the game against Texas Tech. So it'll be interesting to see which one shows up. I think Missouri's going to show up to this one and score a lot of points, and this one could get ugly, but Texas, they're going in the right direction slowly, but I wouldn't say Texas is back, because you know what happened last time we said that.
Joe Testor at you. I agree with you. I think Missouri's going to come out and flat out win this game. They're riding that win streak at the end of the year, and they have looked fantastic after starting awful. Barry Odom really has his team looking good, and Drew Lock, underrated. He's fantastic. He can really sling the football around.
All right, December 28th, we get to the Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman. Virginia versus Navy. It's a home game for Navy, which is odd. And you have Zach Abey, who's rushed for 278 times for 1,322 yards and 22 touchdowns. And a lot of people thought Navy was going to be like the Navy teams that we've seen recently, where they get into the top 25. They look like they're going to either win the Independent or win the American Conference and go to a New Year's Six Bowl. And then just something happens and they just fall apart. They've lost 5 of their last 6. Meanwhile, Virginia, they were 6-4, almost beat Miami and almost beat Virginia Tech in the last 2 weeks. Bronco Mendenhall has got something rolling. They had a great recruiting class last year. They're going to have another good one this year. They got great defense. It's just they got to be able to run the ball is their only problem. But right now, if your defense wins championships, I think defense wins the Military Bowl. I think Virginia knocks off Navy in a hostile environment on the road. I think Virginia does win this game, though.
I agree with you. I think Virginia's going to come out and win this game simply for the fact that Bronco Mendenhall has done a good job turning around this Virginia school after what Mike London left him with. So I think that Virginia will come in and knock off Navy on the road and Annapolis.
How about this, though? Mike London's got Howard University rolling. Of course, he's got Caleb Newton,
That's true.
brother. But, they finished pretty good in the MEAC. Almost won that conference. Got second in that conference.
Definitely.
If not good, A&T got undefeated. Celebration Bowl champions. Congratulations to the Aggies. You got your first ranked matchup in the Camping World Bowl between number 22 Virginia Tech and number 19 Oklahoma State. Of course, you got Mike Gundy's mullet. That makes him the winner, I think. Is just the mullet. Mason Rudolph. We saw him in high school. He played against us for Rival High School. He's the only quarterback I've ever seen throw the ball in the air and walk off the field while the ball's in the air because he knew it was a touchdown.
Yeah, he torched us twice junior and senior year.
Yeah, what was it? 5 touchdowns about those games?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Something insane.
It wasn't good.
And he did that most of the season. So Oklahoma State, of course, disappointing end to the season. Lost to Oklahoma, lost a tough one to Kansas State. So just some disappointing ends for the Cowboys, who really were in contention for a Big 12 title for most of the year. Then Virginia Tech, again, they looked pretty good. We fought too. This point lost to Clemson, which a lot of us figured we were like, well, they can still win the Coastal, and they just get smacked up against Miami, and so they look kind of bad. But Josh Jackson has been emerging, and but he's had his struggles still. I think Virginia Tech's gonna get back to that Frank Beamer-esque type team soon. But it's still going to take a little bit of a while. But Justin Fuente could get 10 straight victory seasons. So Virginia Tech might be back, but I think Oklahoma State's just barely going to get this one, and Mason Rudolph goes to the NFL as a winner.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm taking the Cowpokes in this game because of their offense. Mike Gundy's offense is fantastic behind Mason Rudolph. Like we said, Rival High School, we've seen him all the time. He's fantastic. And I think, like you said, Virginia Tech will get back to that Frank Beamer-esque team. But they do not have Frank Beamer's defense, and they will not be able to stop Oklahoma State.
Also, Cam Phillips will be out for that game. Just released today, so it'll be interesting to see what Josh Jackson does about his number 1 target. This one's always fun. The Valero Alamo Bowl, always a fun one this year. It's number 13 Stanford, number 15 TCU. Stanford quietly has been one of the best teams on the West Coast, but you never hear about them because they play at 10:45 at night every week. Bryce Love, great Heisman candidate. I don't think he's quite as good as Christian McCaffrey, but he's done his job very well. And then TCU, however, it's going to be interesting for running backs situation. You have Kenny Hill, Kenny Trill at quarterback. Will they have their freshman quarterback get snaps? It's going to be interesting. I think Stanford's going to win this one because TCU's been so up and down this season. Where you have Kenny Hill playing out of his mind against West Virginia, and then he goes out against Iowa State and just plays awful. So I think Stanford is going to win this one this gen. I think they could pull away and make this kind of look ugly. But TCU did allow a comeback against Oregon last time they were here, so it'll be interesting to see. This game always looks pretty fun.
Yeah, definitely. I'm taking the Cardinal in this game. I think they're going to win this simply behind the legs of Bryce Love, who will probably run for over $150 in this game, I think. I think Stanford is definitely going to win this game.
All right, the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl.
What
a lot of names. Washington State, Michigan State. It's the Holiday Bowl. It's all you know. Usually a pretty good game. Michigan State's been kind of up and down. Looked dead in the water early. And all of a sudden, just a great job to come on back and just get into a pretty high-profile bowl game. But in Washington State, Luke Falk is going to be here. I think he's going to go out a winner. I think he's going to do great. And then, of course, Mike Gundy's going to have that offense rolling. But they're going to be without their best defensive player, Hercules Mataafa, who was ejected from the Apple Cup because of target penalty for the first half. But if they can hold on, I think the Cougars are going to be able to come back and win this game.
I agree with you. I think the Cougars are going to come out and win this game. Luke Falk will go out a winner. Mike Leach just signed an extension, so they should be excited to play for him and excited to keep going on the Leach train, one of the best personalities in college football. And I think Wazoo takes this one.
I low-key wanted him to get to Tennessee just so we could see him more on the East Coast and be more popular. But, I'm happy for him. I hope he does great.
Definitely.
December 29th, we have the Belk Bowl.
The best bowl.
They turned me down for media credentials, though, so we're kind of on a rocky little slope, but it's okay. It's okay. I'll wait. Wait until we get famous with this video. You have Wake Forest and Texas A&M. What a great story for Wake Forest. A lot. They were at the mountaintop back in like 2007, won the Orange Bowl. It all came crashing down. They've been just awful. But, they've been able to get some wins, get some rolling. John Wolford is one of the most dangerous quarterbacks out there. They got a dangerous group of running backs in the backfield, including Matt Colbert, who we saw in high school.
Yep.
They got dangerous offense. Now, they have some times they look pretty bad, such as Duke and Clemson, but they should be pretty good. And Texas A&M, this rough year. They do have Jimbo Fisher coming in next year. But it's going to take a while to get back to where they were. This is not the Johnny Manziel team. I think Wake Forest is going to win this game.
Definitely. I'm giving the edge to Wake Forest in this game behind the play of John Wolford, who's been surprisingly fantastic throwing and running the ball. Also gotten good production out of Matt Colburn from Dutch Fork High School right here in South Carolina. Texas A&M does have the quarterback Kellen Mond, who has looked pretty good as a freshman, but he's more of the future. Like we said, Jimbo Fisher coming in, they will develop back into a good team like they were back in the Johnny Manziel days. But for this one, the Belk Bowl goes to Wake Forest.
Yeah, these are two teams who could be on the rise next year, so it'll be good to see them kind of early and see where they're going to come from. The Hyundai Sun Bowl, the only bowl game on CBS, the number 24 NC State versus Arizona State. NC State's kind of gone downhill since the beginning of the year, knocking off Florida State, knocking off all these teams. They look pretty good. And, lost to Clemson, lost to Wake Forest. Just all these bad losses toward the end of the season. But they still have a great defense. That's them and Syracuse are the only two defenses I've seen able to stop Clemson for the most part. And the only two offenses I've seen been able to score against Clemson for the most part. Of course, you have Bradley Chubb, who's probably the best D lineman in the country. So it'll be insane to see how they look. But Arizona State, they've looked all right. Todd Graham will be on board the coach's team one more time, but he's going to be fired at the end of the season. So you wonder how much motivation is going to be for him to win, or if they want him to lose, depending on how they like him.
Right.
So I think NC State wins this game. I think NC State's going to be dangerous for a few more years. So NC State wins this one.
I agree. I think NC State's going to win this game. Arizona State, like you said, Todd Graham will be on the sidelines, but coming in is Herm Edwards. What a hire. I don't like it. I don't understand it. And based on that, screw Arizona State, NC State wins.
Music City Bowl, Kentucky and Northwestern. Why does Kentucky go to the Music City Bowl every time they get into the bowl game?
How do they keep getting to bowl games?
Exactly. No, this is the thing. They start off like 4-1.
Always.
And then they go 6-6.
If only South Carolina could schedule Kentucky like the last week of the season before Clemson, maybe we could freaking beat Kentucky. Yes. Okay, I'm done.
Like, they started 6-2, and they were legit. If they would have made that field goal against Florida, the Kentucky-Georgia game would have been the SEC East title. Like, think about that. So, No, they got Benny Snell Jr. I don't know who plays for Kentucky at all. I have no idea anything about Kentucky football. I just know they beat South Carolina and they lost to Louisville bad this year after beating the crap out of them.
The quarterback, he's got big eyes. Every time you look at him in his helmet, all you see is his eyes. They're just like
so we legit don't know anything about Kentucky. So I'm going to pick Northwestern because they beat Iowa this year. And they've been in the top 25 this year a lot. They've been up and down top 25. And plus, Pat Fitzgerald is a great coach. He wore khaki shorts in a game.
He's a legend.
Like, that is amazing. Like, head coach wore khaki shorts, and it wasn't like a game in Hawaii. It was a game at Duke, okay? It wasn't like he was in California or anything. So that's awesome. So go Northwestern.
I'm taking Kentucky in this game, even though Pat Fitzgerald is the legend that we all know. I'm taking Kentucky in this game behind the running back play of Benny Snell Jr. And he's been good all year, and especially South Carolina, the past couple years, he has killed South Carolina in the running game. I think that Kentucky will ground and pound their way to a win.
Yeah, we had a lot of great analysis on that pick, didn't we? The Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl, Utah State and New Mexico State. Great story for New Mexico State. Their first bowl game in 50 years. They have been going in the right direction with their coach. Of course, they've had a lot of rough years building up. They had to build that program up from scratch, basically. New Mexico State was in danger dropping to FCS, I believe. And so they built up. And how about this? Their bowl game in 1960 was also against Utah State.
Whoa.
So it's going to be kind of cool to see that. Utah State, again, has, they went 10 wins to 6 wins to 3 wins and now back to 6 wins. So they've been up and down under Coach Matt Wells. So I think he needs to win this game kind of to help his job out a little bit and probably to, look at Utah State and say we're toward the future. I just think New Mexico State, they got Tyler Rogers, who is third in the nation in passing yardage. And he threw for 451 yards in their game against South Alabama that they had to win to get the bowl eligibility. Mm-hmm. This man knows how to finish in the clutch, I think. I think the Aggies are going to win, get a winning season. The bowl game is going to be a great story. And I think the Aggies are going to keep on this little uptick curve. They could be dangerous over in the Sun Belt.
That's the New Mexico State Aggies. They're both Aggies.
That's right.
It's the Aggie Bowl. But I think New Mexico State takes this game based on one reason and one reason only. When they got bowl eligible, their coach cried, and that's passion. And New Mexico State has not been good ever, and they're going to win this bowl game.
It was insane. You got to find that video. People are on the field hugging and crying. You would have thought they would have won a national championship, and they just went 6-6. So that's insane, awesome, and that's why I love college football.
Fantastic.
We're going to skip the Cotton Bowl for the next video. We're going to get December 30th for the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. It's the Gator Bowl. I don't know why they took Gator out of the name. It's always been the Gator Bowl.
It will be the Gator Bowl.
Yes. It's Louisville versus number 23 Mississippi State. This is going to be an interesting game because Mississippi State has lost their quarterback, Fitzgerald. He got injured, and it's going to be on Eris Williams to lead the offense, to run back. And then you got Lamar Jackson playing probably his last game in a Louisville Cardinal jersey. So it'll be interesting. He struggled last year, though, and Mississippi State's defense is pretty good. But I think Louisville's just going to probably run all over the Bulldogs because there's going to be no answer to them.
Excuse me. I agree with you. I think Louisville's going to take this game behind the arm and the legs and the mind and everything. Lamar Jackson wins this football game. Louisville doesn't win. Lamar Jackson wins.
It's crazy.
Mississippi State will not win this football game because of the absence of Nick Fitzgerald. He is fantastic, and he means too much to this Mississippi State team. If Fitzgerald was playing, I'd probably pick Mississippi State, but I'm picking Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, there's been times that Louisville defense has looked awful this season, but Lamar Jackson in this game. Next game, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Iowa State versus number 20 Memphis, and this happens on. This also happens on December 30th. Excuse me for that. So Memphis gets a home game again.
Why does this game exist?
Yeah. Well, it's pretty cool for them because it's their first ever bowl game against a Power 5 team. They're ranked 20th in the nation. They knocked off UCLA in the same stadium at home at the beginning of the year. This could be a really good defensive game if Iowa State's defense shows up because they've been able to stop offenses for the most part this year because they stopped TCU, they stopped Oklahoma. So it's been a good Iowa State team. But, you have Riley Ferguson, the second coming of Paxton Lynch, and he has been fantastic passing-wise. And so it's going to be an interesting game. I think Memphis slightly gets the edge. They'll have a home field advantage, and they'll just be more motivated. I'm going to give Memphis a slight upset over Iowa State.
I'm going to take Memphis too. I think in a slight upset, even though they are the ranked team, just beating that Power 5 team, that's always a big thing to do for a non-Power 5 team. But we know Memphis has done this before behind the leadership of Justin Fuente, who's now at Virginia Tech. But I will give this edge to Memphis because of Riley Ferguson.
Also, Iowa State, interesting fact, they're the only FBS team that has not had a lost fumble this season. No team has ever gone the entire year. So United Memphis defense, who's been really good this year, is going to be looking forward to that.
They're going to fumble 8 times.
On January 1st, I believe this is we have 2 more games left before we get to NY6 and College Football Playoff. January 1st. Your game, you're going to watch the Outback Bowl between Michigan and South Carolina.
Yes,
of course, last time South Carolina and Michigan played the Outback Bowl, the hit happened with Javion Clowney, one of those iconic moments in South Carolina history.
What an overall game.
Yeah. Jake Bentley struggled toward the end of the year, and he did play 4 pretty good defenses in Florida, Georgia, even Wofford's a pretty good team. They went to deep in the FCS playoffs, and Clemson. But like I said, he's had a month to relax. A month to kind of get back in track. Michigan is not playing with a starting quarterback because Wilson Spate's out. I believe John O'Corn's transferring, and the guy from Ole Miss who's coming in, I can't think of his name right now. He's not coming until next year. So you're on your first string quarterback, but this is the number 4 defense in the nation. This is a tough team, but I think Bentley's going to calm it down, and I think South Carolina's defense, who's been really good this year too, because they've slowed down some really good offenses. I think South Carolina's just going to squeak by in a very low-scoring game. It's going to be a really good game. I think South Carolina's going to be able to do it.
I would agree with you. I think South Carolina's going to win. I mean, obviously I'm a South Carolina fan, so I am biased. But I think South Carolina will pull this game out. It will be a defensive struggle. Obviously, Michigan's defense is 4th in the nation. South Carolina's is not 4th in the nation. But compared to what Michigan's offense looks like, South Carolina's defense will have a field day. And South Carolina's going to have to get the offense rolling. They're going to be under the leadership of a interim offensive coordinator, Willie McClendon. He will have the task of going up against the 4th best defense in the nation. But South Carolina got the run game going kind of late in the season, or better than they had in the beginning of the season with A.J. Turner. So Bentley's going to have to be on. He'll have to find Hayden Hurst, who should be shipping off to the NFL after this season. Yeah. He'll have to find Brian Edwards. Bentley's going to have to get the ball out of his hands and hit his receivers, not the defense.
Yeah. How about a story of Hayden Hurst from walk-on to a potential NFL draft pick? That's an insane story. Also, Brandon Peters, who's supposed to be playing in this game, he was out with a concussion against Wisconsin in the next to last game of the season. And Wilson Spade also got hurt against Ohio State. So we have no idea who's starting quarterback in Michigan, basically. And finally, you have the Citrus Bowl, presented by Overton's. I have no idea what company that is or what they do.
Overton was a guy from high school. It's just him.
That's true. He just ball good.
Presented by Oh Good.
Yeah. It's number 14 Notre Dame. It's number 17 LSU. Notre Dame has had their flashes of brilliance this year, which they look really good. Even though they lost to Georgia, they look pretty good. But then they've had games that look awful. Like Miami looked bad. Navy, even though they won that game, Navy was one knockdown pass away from winning that game. So Notre Dame's looked pretty good this year. You have Josh Adams, who was up for the Heisman at one point, and you have Brandon Wimbush on offense. LSU, how's LSU still ranked this year? LSU,
I couldn't tell you. They've been so up and down all year.
Yeah, because they lose to Troy, of course. Did they beat Auburn?
Yeah.
Yeah,
somebody.
I can't remember.
They did something.
They beat Auburn. They beat Florida. I know that, which I was like, I'm surprised they beat them. And they've been so up and down. Darius Geis is a great running back, but I think Notre Dame's going to win this one just because there's just so much more talent on that team than on LSU's team.
Well, I've got 2 words for you. Go Tigers. I'm taking Coach O and his LSU Tigers because Coach O is the best coach in the nation. And there's no hands down. Go Tigers. We're going to eat some gumbo. We're going to win the Citrus Bowl presented by Overton's. And we're going to all go home and have a good time. Go Tigers.
That is a spot-on impersonation. Thank you. Right there. That's going to do it for the non-Power Bowls. We're going to get you back here with the New Year's 6 and with our college football playoff preview in just a few minutes, days, whatever, however long you watch this video from.
Who cares?
All right.
Can we do the bowl thing? Like, can I have my cereal bowls?
Fine. We'll do it. Stay tuned next video for his bowl preview.